So I've always been involved. I mean, since seventh grade, I did a little watercolor tuba, and the teacher said, if you work on that just a little bit more, I may buy it from you. And that's all it took. He never bought it. After that year, he left because of some school strike, but I was hooked because someone said that I did something that somebody liked. So I stuck with it and decided to go to college for it. I went to Eastern Michigan and got a BFA in fine art. My concentration was watercolor. I just found that was the medium that I liked the best. And then I went on and worked on a master's in fine art at Eastern as well in watercolor. And finally, about 10 years ago, I lost a buddy to cancer. And I said, look, if you don't get serious about this, you're going to regret it. And so I said, look, even if you paint 10, 15 minutes a night after work in the basement, just get started. And that led to an opportunity to work with a gallery. And one thing led to another. I just kept focusing on just cranking out artwork.
How did you get involved working with IMAGIO? What's your history there?
A friend of mine had a home improvement business, and they were getting into building homes. And we were living in Columbus at the time, looking to build a home here back in the Ann Arbor area. And IMAGIO was in there displaying their kitchen attachable pieces. And the owner of that business said, look, these might be a good connection for you because you're an artist and they're looking for creative people. In the process, we started working together. They took a look at some of my artwork, and I sent them a lot of the JPEG masters that I had, and they picked a few, and they ended up starting to build kitchen backsplashes from some of these designs. And we do a few a year, and it's always fun. As soon as we moved in here, things settled down. We did our own kitchen backsplash, and I did a whole series of paintings. In other words, I measured each panel of the wall to fit a piece of artwork. And it took me about a month and a half to paint these. They're all in my art studio here.
Cool.
And my wife said, they look great as paintings, but I don't want to have to look at them every day. So she says, can you make something softer, simpler, more basic? So in 2 days, I did a series of washes and just let the water bleed and the color bleed. And we turned it into, she says, that's what I want.
You've done a variety of different types of pieces with IMAGIO. What was your favorite piece that you've done with IMAGIO?
They're all favorites just because they're from, my experience as an artist and doing these works. So there's not any one particular favorite because I probably have close to 150 paintings around. For me, it's more about the process of painting. I love splashing paint on watercolor paper, let it dry, and see the veils develop of color or the gradation, the stains that are left after the water dries, and all these little effects they don't look manipulated, abstract elements that make a painting interesting. And I understand those elements, and I prefer to let those elements take over the painting, but you still have to build a strong composition and sense of the painting, the balance. Every year I try to do at least one representational painting. And in the last few years, it's been paintings from my parents' hometown in southern Italy. And I've created 3 paintings. I'm staring at them of this little town, of images that kind of caught my attention, and it kind of ties me back to that town.
And that kind of leads in perfectly to my next question, which was going to be, with your artwork, what is the message you're trying to get? Now I kind of want to change my question because I get that you kind of want the painting to develop its own individual message each time. But I see that sometimes with these representational paintings, it seems to be also that you still seem to let the message find you and then you create it.
It just varies. Sometimes all I do is just start by just doing this. getting water, even scraping the bottom of the palette of where I do the watercolor mixing. And there, it's got all these grays and things that have colors are built on top of colors that create dirt or dirty color. But you start spreading that on and you build these textures like, the one behind me on my, I don't know if it's your right or left, but the more abstract piece. There it is.
Yes, and I'm excited to hear when you saw your designs on glass with the kitchen backsplash, what was your first impression? What did you feel that the glass did for your art?
Well, I went to the Novi home show that they were displaying, and they took my first piece that they've used, which was Purple Rain Dance. And this painting was accepted into the Michigan Watercolor juried show that year or the year before. And the beauty of watercolor is that typically you have to put the painting behind glass.
Yes.
Because it's paper. It's got to be protected. And that glass adds another dimension to the painting. But when I saw it in the glass, it created an additional dimension to the painting. And the way it's done with in their process, it just pumps the painting up. And you guys have a great guy that really is a perfectionist when it comes to taking the artwork and making it as crisp as possible so that it comes through on the glass. It's amazing. I mean, I was tickled pink when I saw the first one. We finally got our kitchen backsplash. We've got the under cabinet lighting. So
oh yeah, that really enhances
it just spotlights the artwork all the way across the kitchen.
IMAGIO can pull off a beautiful solid glass backsplash, but it's a lot more that you can do too. I heard that you may have even been approached about a fireplace surround.
Again, everyone knows what I'm doing. I promote it a lot. It's kind of funny. Fraternity brother in California, who's an artist as well. This summer they'll be redoing a little condo. They're trying to modernize it.
Okay.
And so they thought, I'd love to put something around this fireplace and do something if it could handle it. And of course we can. It's tempered glass. It's made to be around heat, just like it is in the kitchen. So we're gonna work on a design for them.
Can't wait to see it. I'm super excited. And obviously, all of your art pieces could also be displayed as well on glass.
Oh yeah, what I do, every piece that I create is digitized for any other medium, especially now with IMAGIO. In fact, they've been shooting some of the artwork as I create it so that they have the master image to put in their portfolio to see if there's any interest. And we can do custom work. In fact, I try to do some myself just to say, here's some ideas and patterns, but we've seen one of the paintings where I did one and I have it in my living room, and someone said, look, I'd love one of those, but can you change the color a little bit on this, where these accent colors? And with Photoshop, you can do that. You can change
technology.
Right. And someone said, well, in my kitchen backsplash, I want it upside down so all the excitement's happening up here, not down here, because I'm going to have bottles and things in front of it. So we flipped it upside down. They created some accent components that went around this background for this kitchen, and it worked great for them upside down.
Not only is it already a custom piece of art, but then if the client wants to take it just a little bit more custom, they can, working with you as well as IMAGIO. That's absolutely fantastic. Also, in addition to being customizable, if you are a fan of having Michigan made or Michigan artists in your home, this is a great opportunity to provide that as well. Oh, there's one right there just showing us.
That's one of the couple of the glass pieces.
Oh, they're just gorgeous.
You can't quite see them, but
yes, absolutely gorgeous. So I want to thank you again for your time today. We really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview with us and being our first of the featured artists for the IMAGIO series.
Anything for the IMAGIO folks.